Greetings, this is Christopher Holcomb with another fabulous episode. Pretty much what I want to tell you guys is I go through my journey, once again, still constantly working on that, as you've seen in my previous video on the deals that I'm doing now. And as always, if you're interested, email me and I'll definitely respond. But today I want to talk about not a new way of financing properties or a different way, but it's kind of using a format that was used before and putting it in the private sector. Pretty much now what I'm seeing is there's a lot of investors, instead of funding the deal for the property, they're funding the buyer. And what they're doing is just like they would if they were selling a property, they're doing a land contract. Now the difference is, like I said, they're funding the end buyer, meaning if there's a buyer that doesn't have great credit, especially in our Detroit metro area and probably in a lot of cities like Florida, Las Vegas, if you don't have the cash and you can't get a mortgage, well, I'll fund you as a land contract, meaning I'm going to fund your deal. You find a house, if it fits this range, then we'll definitely set up the parameters of what the deal will be. And I read to a lot of investors. Some are doing 5 years, some are doing 15 years, some are doing in between that, and some are doing interest. Some put their points on the principal and have you pay it off within that time frame. I think that's good because it's another way to flip. As a real estate investor, as myself, if I know a lot of people who got buyers, and let's say I got an inventory of properties, I can place those buyers, as long as they qualify, with my properties, and then still have the investor fund the buyer. If you like my property, well, I know you're going to buy it. We set up a purchase agreement, and then as long as you qualify, I'll definitely line you up with the investor that can fund you. And as long as they qualify you and you pre-qualify, then you can buy the house. It's another way of doing it. I understand why the buyer's doing it, because they don't want to, investors doing it because they don't want to own property, because it's a headache to a certain extent, just like banks. And they're doing it just like the banks do it. The banks fund you with a mortgage. They don't want to own the property. The only way that happens is if you foreclose. And then they have to take the property because that's the asset. That's the collateral, pretty much. But in the long run, they rather resell it and get their money and move on. So they rather fund you, not fund the property. Because if you're selling the property, then you still got to deal with the property. It's still an asset. You still got to do the rehab as an investor. This way, they don't have to do any of that. You find a property. If you got a realtor, you know you fund it for $35,000 or $55,000, you can go ahead and get that property. And make sure it fits in your range, And you got options. If you know your financial status and they have an assessor they can verify, they can set you up maybe, all right, instead of doing $400 a month, you might can do $300, something that work in your bracket. But it also works with the price you're trying to pay. So if you know you can't afford $500 a month, then you probably can't get a property for $35. You might have to get one for $25. But you still are getting a land contract and you're able to do this. The thing is, they want people to have 20%. And that's the same way in the basis of most land contracts when you're doing a property as an investor. So I would tell you guys, find these investors, because there's a lot of people looking for properties. And if you have properties and you can't match up the two, now you can. It's a very easy way to flip properties in another workaround type of situation. Why not? Just wanted to share it with you guys. So don't always look for people to buy your property and then sell as a land contract, or even doing turnkey properties. Maybe you can find those investors that will fund the people. And then okay, well, if I'm looking at a 60-day turnaround rehab, and I know that buyer already, I got a buyer lined up, and I know I got funding set up for them, then I don't have to deal with it. And most of the time, from my experience, those investors are paying cash for the property. So it's a win-win for everybody, and that's what you look for. So this is something I want you guys to be aware of. There's a lot of investors now acting like mortgage companies, acting like banks, and they're funding buyers, and it's still a win-win for everybody. You just got to know how to set up your system to adapt to it. So I want to give you guys info. I ran into that, and I'm like, this is kind of cool. It still works the same way. And it helps me in the point of trying to flip a property instead of holding on a property and put someone in a land contract, and I got to wait 10 years for you to buy it. Why not fund the investor, and then you can still buy my property and I can move on doing the next. Capital gains, you got to look at that, but it is a situation to build up some cash flow so you can start buying and holding, because cash flow is king. So as always, if you got any questions regarding that, definitely shoot me an email. If you like, hit the like button. Subscribe, should be in the corner over there. And like always, comment. You watch the video, let's say, hey, cool video, stupid video. Hey, this video, I didn't understand this concept. I'll definitely like to respond, you know. So definitely do that. As always, you guys have a great time, a good day, and I'll see you on my next video. Take care, take it easy. Enjoy this weather, too. It's beautiful out here. All right, bye.